your background is really incredible. And from your website, I gather that you are a polymath. You have so much experience as a mystic, as a therapist in different therapy modalities, as a martial artist and mentalist, and also as a traveler. And I was wondering, this is such an interesting life path that you trained with, and what brought you to gather so many experiences in so many fields? I mean, your story itself is incredible, and I would also love to hear an introduction about that, how you became a mystic, what brought you there, and how your life began. It's really incredible and very inspiring. So I would love to hear that for the audience and people who maybe haven't heard from you.
Oh, it's a very short, boring story, to be honest, but that's I'm fine. Okay. Gosh, how did you? You just threw about five questions at me. I don't know which one to answer.
I
Uh,
know you can start wherever you feel comfortable. We can take it from there.
well, for many reasons on many different levels, I ended up leaving home at the age of 14, and I had been doing martial arts with a very old, well-established Chinese master in Australia, and he very quickly told me I needed to go somewhere else. So he gave me a letter of introduction and bought me a plane ticket, which I was very happy about, and sent me off to Nepal. Sherpa was waiting there for me, and I didn't know I was going to be a mystic. I was just doing what my kung fu teacher told me to do. He he did more for me in 2 years. I won't go there; it doesn't matter. So he sent me over there. I arrived in Nepal. The next day, a Sherpa had been arranged for me. He took me over the border into Tibet. We walked for quite some time, and he dropped me off at these big iron gates in the middle of nowhere. My mind went straight to Hollywood. Oh no, this doesn't feel good. And he left me, and I was there for a whole day, and I was about to just leave. I thought I'd been ripped off. Coming from the West, that's the first thing you think. But every now and then, a local villager would walk by, and they would go, "Just wait." They didn't speak English, but I knew what they were saying. So I stayed there for quite a long time, a few weeks to be honest, all up. And then one day the gates just opened, and I fell in because I was leaning up against the gate, and that was it. During that time, lots of things happened to me as a child from the West in a strange country with things going on that I had absolutely no idea of. At that moment, my mind was wide open to everything and anything that could come. I'd forgotten the past already, I'd forgotten where I'd come from. What I was looking at was much more interesting. And that was it, really. I started straight away. They gave me a cell. They gave me some exercises to take me inwards, and I just started going to the lectures and the classes. And by the way, it wasn't a Buddhist monastery. It was purely a mystic monastery, which is
Hmm.
basically the same as a religion, but without the religion, and it's just the techniques. Um, and that was it. After, I guess, a month, I was doing extraordinarily well, I thought. My meditations were doing things to me I couldn't have imagined before I started this kind of stuff. And then, being a cocky Australian, one day I said to my teacher, "Could you please give me my next task?" He said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Because I'm really good at meditating now." And that was my worst mistake. He said, "Oh,
Yep.
He goes, "That's lovely." He goes, "Go down into Lhasa, the main city in Tibet." He goes, "Down into Lhasa, go into the middle of the city and meditate there and show people how well you can meditate." I lasted 20 minutes. I lasted 20 minutes. I cried my eyes out, ran back up the mountain. I didn't
You
say a
see.
word. He didn't say too many words. He just looked at me and he goes, meditate. And he just listened me on. 3 years
Oh,
later,
that was
3 years
that
later.
must have been a great teacher.
Oh, it's wonderful. I loved him to death. He's dead now. Well, his body's gone, but he has not, of course. He could be anywhere
Hmm.
now. Um,
Is he there with you right now?
he's with you right now. He's with me right now. When an ice cube
Wow.
melts into a liter of water, is it just there floating on top of the water, or is it everywhere in the jug? It's everywhere in the jug, of course. So when you die,
Great answer.
you go back into the reservoir of life. That sounds pretty, but I couldn't think of anything else. It's cold and it's late here. It's minus
It's pretty
seven.
late
And
here too.
sorry,
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty late here too. So,
where are you?
yeah. I'm in Taiwan, in the south of Taiwan.
Oh, lovely. You're
Yeah,
Italian, aren't
very
you?
lovely. Originally,
Oh,
Italian and Polish. Yes.
Italian and
I've
Polish.
had a
Fiery.
had an interest, I had an interesting start of my life as well, but we're here to talk about you. So that's really a lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Grandmaster Wolf. And please feel free to take this anywhere that you feel pertinent to what you want to share. So in any moment, feel free to interrupt and say anything that you feel relevant or that you feel is important for you to teach and to share. I would like to ask you a few questions. Obviously, you are um, I would say an expert, if not the expert, in mysticism. And one of the main reasons I wanted to interview you is because there is a lot of confusion nowadays regarding what is spirituality, what is mysticism. There is
Mm,
a lot of, let's say, saturation of information, especially thanks to the internet. And so it can be tricky to find the true teachings, the true masters. And that's why I wanted to interview you because obviously you have years experience training as a mystic in um, a setting where you really practice these meditation techniques at a very deep level. And so I would like your take on what is the spiritual path, what is the mystic path, what is meditation. I know this is a lot of questions, but feel free to take this conversation or wherever you feel inspired to.
Asking questions like you just asked is the beginning of spirituality. Asking questions about, can I have a bigger house than my next door neighbor, isn't. So it starts with
The answer.
the correct question. Truth seekers, if you are looking for truth, absolute truth, real truth, needing, not wanting, needing to know what life is all about, needing to know what you are in there, animating that body, needing to know where you go and where you come from when the body's no longer there. If these are your questions, you are on a spiritual path and you are looking for truth. Unfortunately, the first thing people do at that point is go to religion. But what you'll need to understand about religion is a belief system. Truth seeking is a system that requires nothing but fact, evidence, experience, and proof. They are the ingredients of truth. So, as a truth seeker, belief, opinion, and assumption are your worst enemies. They will stop you. So religion is a belief system. There are many, many people in the world that needs a belief system. Um, I personally, many people in the past say to me, "But surely you have to believe in something, GM." And my answer is always, "Why? If you, if real life and reality is so bad and so horrible that you have to replace truth with a belief, I understand that, but that's not me. I'm not like that. Um, I can't see the rationality in replacing facts with beliefs. So that's not me. That's spirituality, just seeing these things, observing these things, realizing these things, wanting to work towards and enhance, wanting to work towards the enhancement of your understanding of life and what you are and what your place is in that life from your own experiences, not from other people's hearsay and theories, which is YouTube.
I think I am unfortunately playing a role in that. So yeah, that's part of why I decided to invite you in my YouTube channel to clear a little bit of the space of my even the noise that I create.
Yes, but
Because
people on this level, it's more like being a Trojan horse. You know you don't want to be in there, but if you can go in there and drop some very good seeds, then that's the sacrifice you make. And I think that's a lovely thing and a wonderful thing. The fact that you want to clear a few things up on your YouTube channel means you're a spiritual person.
thank you for that.
Spirituality is purely about reaching for something bigger than yourself that is real.
Hmm.
That's it. Anything else isn't.
Wonderful.
If you are just interested in mysticism, you won't become a mystic. It has to be the only thing in your life that you're interested in. It has to be the only thing that's tugging at your heart is to know, the need to know. And then you're on the path for sure. And there is no path, to be honest. That's the wrong word. That's something else I'd like to clear up. Anyone with half a brain understands that now is the only reality that's happening. Anything either side of now is memory or assumption. If you're looking for reality and truth, it can only live in a place that's real, which is now. So to be going into the past and digging into memories and digging into other people's memories of their past by reading their books and such, you're already left the moment. You've already left reality. You have to be in the moment. It's the only place where reality lives. I forgot where I was going with that because I'm tired. Ow, that hurt. What was your question? I'm sorry.
That's wonderful. That's spontaneity is the true how the truth comes out more purely. Um, Thinking you mentioned thinking is we definitely have is something, it's a habit that is so pervasive, and I
Um,
find myself working to observe my thinking, understand what it's doing to me, what it's doing to other people, how productive it is, and why is thinking such a pervasive habit in humans? Can we use it in a constructive way? Is it an addiction? Is it something that has taken control over us? Is it part of our evolution? That's why we're exploring the darkness of it because we're evolving towards using it in a more productive way. What is your take on thinking?
you're using your thought process right now to ask me appropriate questions. That's what it's for. Should I go into that cave? Or I don't know. The last time we walked past, there was a saber-toothed tiger in there. Okay, probably shouldn't then. Let's throw a rock in there and see if it's still in there. That's a thought process. That's what it's for. It's for absolute survival on every level, procreation, feeding, that kind of stuff. And then you ask the question, you used it for that. But when you ask a question, what do we do here and what's this for? And then another part of your brain starts to give you the answer, that's when it's bad.
I noticed. Yeah, I have to stop that one.
So we're educated in such a horrible way. We are educated in such a way that it will take you totally the opposite direction. to the land of reality and truth. This is what I wanted to say that I forgot before. The path. Now is the only reality. Everyone knows that. It's the only certainty in life other than change. So, where is the path going to go to if now is the only real place? You see what I mean? There's nowhere to go with the path. It's wrong. It's a wrong terminology. And that's enough to send your brain in the wrong direction. It believes itself. And that's another big problem. So we are educated to think and believe that the more data you hoard, the more intelligent you are. The more intelligent you are, the more successful you are in life. So you hoard thoughts, you hoard experiences by turning them into thoughts, and then you hold on to them like they are diamonds because you associate with them as being you. You think you are your body, you think you are your thoughts. So when you think you are your thoughts, when your thoughts get depressed, you think it's you that's depressed. When you, etc. When your thoughts are confused, you think it's you that's confused. But the fact is, if you have the clarity to sit back and think and know that your thoughts are confused, what are you in there watching those thoughts, knowing that they are confused? Because you're not using thoughts to observe that. You're not using thoughts to know that they are confused. You just know. That's you. That's the real you. Would you like me to show you you and see how you can distinguish between you and your ego?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, let's do it.
It's very quick. It's very easy. Very short. Very powerful. Dalai Lama stuff.
Okay.
In a second, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. Anyone out there listening that wants to do this, you'll love it. So please join in because it can change your life. And it takes less than 12 seconds. And that's wonderful. So in a sec, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. When you take your deep breath, don't go like that. A lot of people do that, and it's no, don't do that. So you need to fill your lungs up 3/4 of the way. It's nice and easy, it's nice and relaxing, and it will do the job. Um, so I'm going to ask you to breathe in. I will count to 4, which means take 4 seconds to fill your lungs 3/4. Don't you count, I'll do the rest. And then you follow me, and then we will talk about what happened and why it works so powerfully. So please, anyone that wants to get involved, relax. Sink into your chair or wherever you are. Take a moment to feel gravity pulling you down into the chair and allow it to do that, like allowing your mother to hold you and cuddle you tightly. Now close your eyes and take a very slow, deep breath to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now do that 2 more times without me counting, with your whole mind. And after you've finished your next 2 breaths without counting, slowly open your eyes. And when you open your eyes, don't think, don't talk, don't move. Just sit there for a moment in silence and wait for the ego to come back. Okay, just wait. Don't nod, don't talk, don't move. Just wait. That's you. You just use the original mind. And then Valentina will come back and start chattering, pretending to be you. Oh, that was interesting. That was nice. Can we do that again? That's not you. And here she comes. There she is. Hello. That's the difference. So when you can hold that mind with no thought but all knowing, you have arrived back into the original mind that came with the baby when you were born, all knowing, all enlightened. It just can't talk yet. That's all. Um,
Wow.
very short, very deep, very easy. The most powerful thing you'll ever do if you click onto the trick. And the trick is not the breathing. The trick isn't the ability to do it without counting. The trick is to sit there for a moment in that wonderful, peaceful state of mind, which is calm and blissful, and no one can deny that if they've just done this. And then watch the thoughts come back. That, whatever that is that comes back, it calls itself Valentina in your case. And that's what's doing most of the living, and that's what's filtering the reality of life before it gets to you, the information on it. Very powerful. Now, the reason it works on another level is because your brain has a wonderful ability, when you give it enough power, it has the ability to manifest anything made of matter, anything. That's what it does. If you focus your mind on an angry thought, you become angry. If not, you become anger. If you focus on a happy thought, you become happy. If you focus on motorcycles, you become a biker. If you focus on surfboards, you become a surfer. If you focus on your breath, you become life again, not a zombie living from a whole bunch of thought processes. That's why it works. And look how it feels. Isn't it wonderful? You know,
Yeah.
this is how wonderful it is as a tool. I'll go a little further, and this is how you can use that. If you've had a long marriage and you don't like each other anymore, and it's not as great as you thought it might be 20 years later, if you get up in the morning and you walk into the kitchen for breakfast and your partner is standing there, and you're looking at your partner with all the memories of the horrible things he or she said to you yesterday, or how they embarrassed you last week, or the fight that you had last month. That's why you don't like the person anymore. You're not looking at the person you fell in love with, you're looking at experiences that you shared with that person. And that's why you don't like each other. If you can walk into the kitchen each morning and see that person with no memory of yesterday, no memory of last night, you would be just as in love with that person as you were the day you met, done and dusted. But it's difficult for most people to do that. And that's how you can use that. If you do it every day, as many times as you like each day, very, very, very quickly, you'll get to a point where you don't need to count. You'll know about what 4 seconds feels like. You don't have to count, it doesn't have to be exact. And then you just start the breathing. When you are counting, you're still using a minuscule amount of your thought process, your ego, to do the counting. Then you get rid of that very quickly. And then you just do the breathing. You can do it at a train station. You can do it in the middle of a war. You can do it anywhere and any time you like. And it will bring you back to absolute clarity and reality in 12 seconds. Wonderful stuff.
Beautiful. I like these simple techniques that can be applied every day so that in any context, in any situation, we can we can have a tool to reconnect to our true self without too many complex processes, without too many readings or teachings, but just with a practical
That's
exercise.
it.
I love practical exercises
And it's
as a
inevitable. It is inevitable that eventually you've got to start wondering, not thinking, but wondering, what am I in here that's just taken control over this beast that I inhabit? You don't think that, you just know it. You know that. You
yeah.
can't think of something you don't know, so you have to know it before you can think it. You know that. You've probably heard me say this. If I ask you to think of a motor car, if you don't know what a motor car is, you can't think of one. So what does that tell you? Everything you can think about, you already knew before you thought it. So cut out the thinking, cut out the middleman, and live life with pure knowing. And then you won't have a single thought in your head. You don't think about what you do. Nobody thinks about what they're doing throughout the day. You're sitting on the toilet thinking about work. You're sitting on the toilet thinking about a party that you're about to go to. You're driving your car to work or through the city, you're talking to your friend the whole bloody trip. You don't think about what you're doing at the moment. Nobody does. Once you know how to drive a car, thought goes out the window about driving. Once you know how to brush your teeth, thought goes out the window. You don't need it. And your whole life can be like that: quiet, peaceful, full of invisible, tranquil knowing. And then, and this is what I do, you wake up each morning like an empty glove, wait for life to put you on, and then watch what it does with you throughout the day. And it's quite fascinating. That's my life anyway. But I'm nearly 70, so I'm lazy as well.
I started this process relatively recently compared to you, so I'm just a newbie, and I already see um, the positive results, and also the um, redundancy of thinking. Often, it's definitely greatly overestimated. There are many situations where we are conditioned to believe we have to think, but it doesn't actually, it's not really necessary or required for the activities that we're doing. So,
Exactly. We're still, as far as the species goes, we're no more than a 4-year-old toddler. We're
mhm.
children. We're very, very young and very stupid and very arrogant and very self-centered. And, to a 4 or 5-year-old child, Scooby Doo is the world to them. Yeah, they think that's all real, the land of Scooby Doo, or, whatever. Their cartoons are the world, it's their life. And that's all they talk about, and that's all they think about. And then by the time you get to 15, you can't believe that you used to love Scooby Doo. It's changed now. And in the same way, as children, as a species, we think that our cartoons in our head, our thought process is everything, and it isn't. It'll go. Look at how many other things are on the way out through evolution. We're losing our tonsils. They were a bit of a hindrance, so we don't. They're going. People are being born without them now. Our little toe on the way out. We don't need it to grab hold of tree branches anymore, so the little toe's on the way out now. It's just useless little thing, really. What else have we got? I forgot the name of it now. That little thing that you get pulled out when it gets really painful and horrible. Ah, I got a blank. What is it? You know what I mean. Everyone has one. It's right there next
I
to
know
you.
what you mean. Oh,
Appendix.
I'm like, appendix, yes, the appendix.
Well,
That
the
one.
appendix. People are being born without appendix now as well because little things come and go, trial and error. Life isn't about making mistakes. You only make a mistake when you know what to do, but you don't do it right. That's a mistake. Exploration of life through evolution, through observation, is a matter of trial and error. There's no such thing as a mistake. There's no such thing as doing it wrong. There's only such a thing as learning, understanding, experiencing, and repeating. God knows where that came from, but there you go.
I love the spontaneity of the conversation. Um, I would like to take you to talk about healing.
Yeah.
Isn't healing the same concept or the same practice, if you will, as being presence, um, not being distracted with all of the disconnection and limitation of the thinking? Is healing Does healing have something to do with that? What is your take on healing? How would you describe healing in the mystical, energetic sense, the way you heal? What is your take on healing, if you would like to go in that topic?
Um, there's quite a few ways of healing. It depends whether you're healing the mind or the body or the bones or anything of that nature. Pure love, unconditional love, always works well if you know how to wield it and if you're not fooling yourself as to what love is. I always have to check myself just to make sure that my thought process isn't changing the definition of love. So for me, it's a matter of Okay, you, Valentina, your happiness and your life means so much more to me than my life and my happiness. That's enough to heal somebody. If you see someone in misery and it hurts you no end to see that person hurting, whether you know them or not, you have unconditional love. And just putting your hands on that person for a few moments will heal them, can heal them if they're receptive. It's a two-way thing. The other way is to reach into their mind and create a placebo effect in them so that they heal themselves. It blows my mind how many people they go, oh, that's just placebo.
Like it's a little thing.
It's a miracle. Yeah, exactly. The doctors couldn't fix it. The doctors couldn't remove the tumor. The life couldn't remove the tumor. Medicines couldn't remove the tumor. So with a little conversation, your tumor disappeared, and you're going to go, "Oh, that was just placebo." Here, have your tumor back, dickhead. So that's another form of healing. You've got to understand the miracle of placebo and don't pass it on as just, oh, that's just because you've been tricked into creating your own miracle, you don't want to do it. Pathetic. That's another way of healing, anyway. Now, the other way, the best way, unfortunately, the most difficult way, got some funny noises coming through at the moment. There we go. A little bit of a story. Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay.
Very happy to hear your stories.
At some point, okay, where shall I start this? Not long before you were born, a baby. Not long before you were born, a bird would have flown across the sky and had a poo. And in the poo, there would have been a seed. And when the seed touches the ground, immediately it wakes up and it starts to pull planet into itself. The previous tree made the seed, but that's where the mother tree stops. Once the seed is on its own, it's on its own. It has DNA, which is its framework. So it starts pulling nutrients out of the planet, water, nutrients, minerals, and it will build a tree around itself over time. That tree, which is a piece of planet, because that's all it's eaten is planet, is made of planet. It will have grow an apple at some point. Your mother comes along and eats the apple. 20 minutes later, the apple becomes your mother, along with all the other bits of planet that your mother ate. When there's enough surplus and when the time is correct, she'll make a little baby model, a little prototype. That's you. As soon as you come out of your mother's belly and touch the planet, you've got to start pushing planet into your face for the rest of your life now, because that's what you're made of. It's like a pile of sand. If you don't keep doing this, it dwindles away very quickly. So you keep putting that, or you die and dwindle away very quickly. When you look at it that way, your body is no less a part of the planet than a mountain. You are made of rock and dirt and planet. It's what you are. You are a lump of planet. As a lump of planet, you've built this body. Your mother built that bit. You've built the one you have now by eating lots and lots of planet. So much so a part of the planet that half your breathing apparatus is out there in the garden, in the elements, the trees. They breathe out, you breathe in. You breathe out, they breathe in. You're sharing gases. That's half of your lung capacity. Half of your internal organ is out there in the garden. Your body's made of planet like a mountain. That's what your body is. And because your body's made of planet, you have access to billions and billions and billions of years of things that happened on and in that planet. That's at your disposal. Once you can go in deep enough and see how you did that and built this body around yourself, you can then heal it with the same process. You can fix it with the same process. That's the other way of doing it. That's it. 3 ways. 4 if you count doctors.
Wow. The third way is very interesting, and it seems that it requires a lot of deep inner knowing of our internal processes and our the way we are built, the way our consciousness creates this body and this life. So that's something very interesting to explore.
Absolutely. There's some very
Would
nasty
you say
crackling
that?
noises coming out of your microphone at the moment. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not.
No, is it maybe because I was too close to the microphone? Is this
That's
better?
it there when you do it. Go, it's electrical. Whoa, that's bad.
That's bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just when you move, it sounds like you have a loose wire there or something. I can still hear you.
Let me see if I can stabilize it. Yeah, this is not a very advanced microphone at all. Is this any better?
That is much better. I can hardly
Okay,
hear
I'm
your
not.
voice though.
Yeah, this is not a very good quality microphone.
It's
This is
okay. It's okay. We can clean it up. So,
so would you say that all types of disease or ailments, in whether physical or emotional or mental, are coming from lack of love, where we're not giving love to either ourselves or others or the body or the earth, the planet that we inhabit? Would you say that that is what creates disease in general?
no, it's the way that we think. You know, you can love someone. I don't know how to say this in nice wording. You can love someone to death. You know, an old saying. I don't mean love them and then kill them. You can love someone to death, and if they're not receptive to it, it makes no difference. If they don't like you, doesn't matter how much you love them. You know, it does have an effect, of course, and they say love overcomes everything. But you know, tell that to Hitler. So, do you see what I mean? So, it's your thought process. If you have, once again, if you focus your mind on an angry thought, you become angry. If you focus your mind on a sad thought, you become sad. If you focus on destructive thoughts, you'll become destructive, self destructive, and outwardly destructive as well. It's what you focus your mind on. If your mind is focused on, if you put the person next to you first, always, if you love the person next to you more than you love yourself, and that doesn't mean you don't love yourself at all. It's just that there's a priority. It's not about you. When you have that kind of love, when you focus on what can you do for your neighbor, what can you do for the world, what can you do to make life easier and better, when you have those kind of thoughts, those kind of illnesses disappear. I'm glad you used the word disease because it is a dis-ease that comes from the thought process. But then you've got bacteria and viruses. That's a whole different ballgame completely because your body is made of planet and your thoughts are made of material things. Your brain is material. Thoughts are made of electrical impulses and chemicals. It's all matter. Electricity is matter. It's electrons zapping about, doing their thing, being electronic. So your body is made of matter. It knows everything about matter. It knows nothing about spirituality. Very, very, very quick, for instance. A modern day car today, you can sit in a modern day car today and it can pull up quite quicker than you can. It can stop hitting pedestrians quicker than you can. It can stop itself from hitting gutters and other cars quicker than you can. Some cars today can actually back up and plug themselves in. That means it can feed itself. So you've got this car, it can drive better than you. You just punch in where you want to go and it'll take you to where you want to go. It can do all of these wonderful things. And all the time it's chattering to you. Chatter, chatter, chatter. It's this, the temperature outside, the temperature inside, just the speed that you're going, how much power you have left in your batteries, how much fuel you have left, constantly talking to you, the driver. Now, for all of that wonderful knowing and its brilliance to be able to drive everywhere as a piece of machine, it still doesn't know who you are, that you're in there. Even though it's chattering away, it's got no idea that you're in there driving it or looking at it. So you're just in there with your windows wind up tight, and all the information coming in is through your car, and you believe all of that information. So the outside world is filtered through your vehicle, and you think you're experiencing life, but you're not. You're experiencing your vehicle. And this is the same thing in this vehicle, full of sensors, made of planet, made of matter, does its thing, goes where you want it to go, does what you want it to do most of the time. But to sit in there and say to your vehicle, tell me about enlightenment, it's not going to do it. It's going to come up with all sorts of stupid, idiotic theories and books and YouTube videos, and it doesn't care. It's not alive. It doesn't know it's there. It doesn't know you're there. It doesn't know what life is. It doesn't know what consciousness is or what spirit is. But we'll sit in here and we'll try and use this thing to try and explain invisible things. A car is made to quantify, feel, and sensor its way around physical objects and physical things, including food and thoughts and everything else. But it does not deal with invisible things very well. But we want it to. This is why it doesn't work. The people that start to move forward are people that want to know what life is like outside of the vehicle. Wind your windows down, put your face out. My God, what's this wonderful spiritual thing I'm feeling? Oh, that's the wind on your face. Really? Never heard of it. So you start to experience a life outside, and now you're experiencing real life. And now you will grow exponentially. Your car is a wonderful thing. It's an amazing miracle, but the planet created that for you. And when you leave, it will take it back and save it for someone else to come along. But it's not just our planet. There's life. The universe is absolutely saturated with life. The universe is alive, and in order to know itself, and life doesn't know itself yet, that's why it's curious. When you have life in you, you are curious. When life isn't in you, you're not curious. And I'm not talking about being dead, I'm talking about someone who doesn't have a life, can't get out of bed, suicidally depressed, got no motivation whatsoever, doesn't care about anything. They're starting to smell, they don't even go and have a shower anymore. That's a person who's not alive, that's a zombie, basically. So life is obviously curious, because when life is in you, you are curious. And you weren't curious before life was in there. So life is curious. If it's curious, it doesn't know the end result. If it doesn't know the end result, it has to observe and learn about itself. Compared to eternity, the universe is still a fetus, not very old at all, just arrived compared to eternity. So it's understanding and watching and looking at itself through you and me, worms, trees, everything that has life in it. It's in there knowing, learning, observing itself. As above, so below. Isn't that what we're doing anyway? So that's what it's doing. It's learning about itself. So it has created on all of the other planets out there, all the planet, and this is one of the things planets do, they create little lumps to inhabit. I've got one, you've got one, little lumps to inhabit. So throughout the cosmos, there might be 100 gazillion, trillion, billion, million life forms out there, which means life has 100 gazillion, trillion, billion, million viewpoints upon itself, all different, including yours and mine and everything else. And out of that 100 gazillion, million, billion, trillion life forms, not one of them has the same viewpoint you do, or that I do. You are unique. In that observation, in that knowing, it's obvious to see that your reason for being has nothing to do with you. Your reason for being is for life to know and understand itself through us. That's your reason. That's what's happening. And that's just a wonderful thing. What do you do now? Easy. Wake up each morning like an empty glove, let life put you on, and you are serving life again, serving humanity, serving the universe, serving yourself. And it's such a wonderful feeling. I have no idea why you asked what you asked me or why I said any of that, but it sounded pretty good.
No, this is perfect. This is what I wanted to um, hear. So basically, the best way we can serve life or love, if you will, not in the sense of the way that humans usually use that word, but in the sense of the all, everything, the beingness of that is in all of us. The best way we can serve that is by sort of just being present with life and not getting sucked into what some people call the monkey mind, the thinking, the dissecting, the analyzing, and instead just be present and flow with what life is take where life is taking us, with what we feel inspired, what um, we feel in connection with life, in connection with everything, that we feel that push from life itself.
Yes,
So the best way to connect with that basically is to quiet down the monkey mind and just be present with this connection to the I am inside of us. Um,
yes,
that is how we can serve life the best, as far as I
absolutely,
understood.
absolutely. And just by being halfway there, you've stopped waging war, you've stopped being an asshole, you've stopped being aggressive, you've stopped being confused, just from aiming towards serving humanity. All of these things stop. There are people out there going, "Oh yeah, you sit on there just meditating, going on, and yet people are still killing themselves." Well, that's because everyone has to meditate. You know, when if we were to go back 500 years into the Dark Ages, or however long ago the Dark Ages were, and compare that to today, you don't have anything to complain about today, really. You and I would be burnt at the stake right now just for having this discussion. Simple
Yep.
as that. That's how pathetic we used to be yesterday in the scheme of things. Wasn't that long ago.
Hmm.
Oh, there's that noise again. So, yes,
Oh.
it's as simple as just be, work on yourself, calm your mind, calm
Mhm.
your heart, and you are a good tool for life, all life, including other people. By that I mean when you are calm and centered and clear, when everyone else is running around like fools in a crisis, and you're the only one standing there like a rock, observing, looking for the best way out for everyone concerned. People, you're already helping, you're already serving humanity on many levels. People are watching you. At the end of the day, people will go, "Did you see her? We were all running around like idiots, about to burn to death. She's just standing there looking around. She found the way out for everyone. We all escaped. And not once did she worry, not once did she panic. I want to be like her." That person has now just changed. They've seen a better way of being. You've already served that person. And of course, by being that way, you allow the clarity and the wisdom and the love of life itself to support you and work through and with you as well. These are all bad words because it implies that you're separate from life itself, and you're not. But we have to share our observations somehow. And in the beginning, we share it like this. Eventually, you share it astrally, you share it through the Akashic records. But as we're living in these dirt bags, we have to use grunts. When I'm speaking to you, my intention to share with you is invisible. That comes from the spirit realm. Your brain is an interface between non physical and physical. So your intention is invisible. It comes into the brain. Your brain then turns it into a picture, a thought. So now your brain can deal with it as well. So your brain turns my intent into a picture. Another part of my brain allocates an appropriate grunt to that picture. Let's say we're talking about a cup. So you have a cup, grunt, cup, and another part of the brain will then turn that grunt into a physiological process, i.e., pushing air over vocal cords and going cup. You hear the word cup. Hopefully, you've read the same grunt manual that I did, which is the English language, and hopefully, you will get the picture of a cup. That happens every trillisecond. I watch that happening all the time, so I can choose words correctly because they are ambiguous at best. The word love, no, let's not use that. The word high, not high, but high as a building high, is different for everyone. Depends where you grow up. If you've grown up in a little village in the desert, high to you is not much taller than a mud hut. If you live in New York, high to you is the Empire State Building. If that's in New York, I'm showing my ignorance here. I apologize. Um, Words are ambiguous at best. I learned this at school at the age of 9. I noticed that my teachers were saying things, but I was adding my own definitions to the words that they were. Everyone does. It's all relative. So what they're saying to me, I have no idea if what I'm picturing is the same picture that they're trying to give me. So I realized I'm actually educating myself here, and I don't know if it's correct. What's the point of this? So I stopped. I started going to the library, put my school uniform on, go to the school bus stop. Parents go their way. I leave the bus stop, catch another bus, go to the city, spend the whole day in the library studying books on mind and psychology and occultism. And as a child, that's where you start. I was fortunate enough not to make my beginnings based on religious concepts. I bypassed that. Not intentionally, I was just lucky. My whole life has been luck. I don't
Well,
regard myself as an intelligent person at all, so it has to be luck.
or it was well planned from above, let's say, from you know
Yeah,
the pre-birth planning intention. It was all orchestrated really well.
it was. I thought so. Yeah. I still don't know what it's going to do with me, and that's exciting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all have different paths, and we all take different turns, and we never know where it's going to take us. And sometimes the turns that look the most daunting and scary are the best ones for our growth. So.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, there might be 20 different paths going up to the top of Mount Everest, and they're all different. Some paths are very, very difficult, full of shale. Some paths are very, very difficult in a different way. Each different culture that approaches the mountain from different ways will have different paths, different hurdles, different dangers. But when you all get to the top, the view is exactly the same. You all get to the same place eventually. So you are very correct,
Exactly.
and it's a wonderful thing.
And we all have had a different experience getting there, so we can then share with each other our tangible experience, which is a beautiful way to connect.
But that's just the fingers talking to themselves. The actual body of life itself is learning that fingers talk to each other.
um, there's something else I want to talk about. You said something really beautiful that stuck with me in one of your videos about the illusion of the I amness being limited to this body or to this identity. And in your experiences with going out of body or meditation, you have broken through that illusion. So you experience your I am as not limited to this body. Would you like to expand on that a little bit more? Because that's something that has always frustrated me immensely growing up in especially in the Western materialistic society, is that as a highly sensitive person, I could always feel energies and so on. But I was told, no, this is you. That's that's not you. So that's not possible. Fortunately, now I don't have to limit myself in that way. But would you yeah, explore that a little bit more? This why we limit our consciousness to just this body, this identity, as opposed to wherever the consciousness can expand.
It's because we have been educated by children. That's all there is to it. If you were born into a well-rounded, very grounded, loving, caring family, and you went to a school that taught you that your body is made of matter, your body is made of what you eat, your body is an accumulation of what you ate. When you enter into this body, you have the ability to drive this body around for a little while. If all of the actual realities and facts of life was given to you as a child, it wouldn't be special. It would be normal to be spiritually minded. It would be normal not to be aggressive or unloving. It would be normal to be, you see, we can be whatever it is we are programmed to be, unfortunately. And still, even today, teachers, professors, everything that they learn and teach children are from books, someone else's information, someone else's opinions, someone else's theories. If a man has been arguing all day with his family because everyone's about to get divorced and he comes to school that day, that's going to come through in his teachings. When he teaches the children, he's going to be angry, he's going to be upset, and it's going to come through. If a lady is having a very, very bad period that month, if she starts taking it out on the school kids, um, young teachers' aides, young students, they come in, they haven't learned correctly yet, but they're pushing their own personal opinions on the children and warping the teachings a little bit. So basically, and you're being taught by people who don't have a spiritual bone in their body. I'm not saying this about all teachers. Some teachers do, but they're not allowed to bring it up. They will lose their job, they will lose their career. So it's your education. Every problem on this planet is our education. That's the fault of the education. You can be anything, and whatever you are programmed to be, you can do it. But you don't learn that until it's too late. Bad wording. You don't learn that until much later in life, and then it's probably too late because you've already probably got houses on mortgage and cars you have to pay off and 5 kids that you got to feed. It makes life very, very difficult. And I'm going to say something that most people will understand, but may piss off a few people, but who cares? There are millions of people in the world who think too late in life, I shouldn't have had children. Do you know what I mean? There are people that should have children, wonderful people that should have, but then there are people who shouldn't have children. They were better off being an astrophysicist or something like that and pledging their life to that. But you're educated. Women have to be in the kitchen. Women have to have children. Women should blah, blah. Men should be the ones that don't get upset and don't cry, and they should be doing this and that. When you grow up on should be, should be, should be, you're already pushing shit uphill immediately. If you're educated correctly, in balance, spiritually, emotionally, we're not taught about how to handle emotions. This is what's killing our children today. We're not taught about the connection between emotion and thought. Emotions are another form of thought, by the way. You can't feel angry until you have an angry thought. You have an angry thought, an angry emotion will follow it, like a wake follows a boat. It's that simple. So we're not taught that. We're not taught that you don't have to respond to your thoughts as though they are real things. We're not taught anything about internal control and look at the world because of that. We're full of creatures. And when I say creatures, I mean someone who gets angry and then punches the person next to them, or gets angry and punches the child, or gets angry and punches a hole in the wall. That's a creature. It's not a human being. And we still have a lot of those in the world. Once again, in your education, if you leave school at the age of 15, or whatever age you leave school, having an absolute full knowledge of what you and I have been talking about today, what a different world it would be. Be no confusion, no problem, no aggression. People would still have anger coming up. They would still get upset. They would still form opinions, but it'll just be a collection of tools that they can use or not use later on in life, and that's how they will see them. When you distance yourself from your thoughts, bliss comes very quickly, because all of your misery comes from your thoughts, all of it. No angry thought, no anger. No miserable thought, no misery. Beautiful stuff. Very easy to do, but you have to want to do it. The greatest enemy and the greatest evil in this respect in the world today is people thinking that they can't do it. It's people thinking that spirituality is a pointless, useless thing. I'm not going to carry on with that particular thread because I can't find the words that I want to use for it at the moment. There's no such thing as evil, really. If you take all of humanity off of this planet right now, where do you think you would find good and evil? You just took it off the planet. It's gone.
Yeah, this is that's the addictive nature of the thinking mind, that we believe we cannot live without it, when in fact it is the very thing that's limiting us. That's it's really tricky to get out of that illusion. But
Mm.
once you do start to get out of it and we tangibly experience what it feels not to be controlled by it, the story changes. But it seems that tangible experience is the key, and that's why your very quick exercises are so important, because anybody can practice and have a try for themselves how it feels like to be free for 12 seconds, to be your true self for 12 seconds.
And then
that's
hold
already
it.
that's already
That's it. That's all there
yeah.
is to it. Then you just learn to hold it a little bit longer, a little bit longer. Many, many things happen very quickly. It becomes exponential. You are correct. It's a wonderful
Yeah,
thing. But
so
my
those
goal,
meditations.
I'm sorry, you go.
No, please, you
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say, my goal is clarity of humanity. My goal is always been when you are in a situation and you're about to be tortured by someone. I was tortured in Tibet by the Chinese for a while. And this is what worked for me. The 4x4x4 breathing. But the point is, you don't always have time. When you're in a crisis, it's extraordinarily impractical to go, hang on a minute, crisis, everyone just be still. I'm going to go meditate for half an hour and then I'll come back and we'll see how it goes. You're going to come back and there's a room full of dead people. So um, you need something that can happen now, work now as we're doing it. Rooms on fire. Okay. And then you take stock of everything. The trick with that technique is not the counting, not remembering to do it, learning to go to that state of mind without the counting, without doing the exercise. Right now, you could go to most people in the world and ask them to get angry for you. Most people have been angry so much in their lives, they know what it feels like, and they can reproduce the feeling for you and get angry. This is what a well paid actor does in Hollywood. This is why they get paid. They can do these things. So, when you do the meditation and you arrive at that original mind for a few moments, the trick is do it as often as you can to the point where you get so used to the feeling of that state, you just go there. because you're used to it. You know how to get there. You can conjure that back up. And when you do that very quickly, not in years, in months, and sometimes in weeks, depending how much effort you put into it, you'll get to the point where getting to your back to your high mind and engaging the moment with your higher mind is as quick as just, okay, here we are. It's that quick.
Beautiful. And that's why your teachings are so essential for the world, especially today, where um, yeah, in some ways a lot of people are really heading in the direction even more materialism, more consumption, more disconnection. But also there is a strong curiosity by a lot of people to go in the direction instead of connecting back to the truth, the true self, the source, that presence that is in all of us, that divine beingness. So it is, having these tools is so important, and having teachers like you who can sort of clean up all the confusion and the, all of the noise out there to give some very tangible, truthful, and applicable techniques is really, really important. So thank you so much for what you're doing. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it. And your teachings have been very, very helpful to me.
Oh,
And it
wow.
looks like we're, yeah, so now I've been applying some of your techniques quite regularly. So
Oh,
it looks
wonderful.
like we're out of your time. And I could go on for hours if it wasn't so late, I guess. But it's been such a great pleasure to meet you, Grandmaster Wolf.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank
do you
you.
have any last words, anything else you would like to add before we finish?
Don't worry about the way the world's going. It's not going to end. Just start loving and caring and sharing and supporting each other. Don't get too caught up in the idiocy and the stupidity of the governments that are ruling the world at the moment. Please don't be offended what I'm about to say, but whatever it is your government is doing to you and your country, it's your fault. Sack them if they're not doing what you're paying them to do. I'm going to get visited by the men in black now that I just said that.
Knocking at your door tomorrow. Just wait for them.
But that's it. Remember, it's not the people aren't meant to be scared of their governments. The government should be scared of the people because we are the bosses. We employ them. We pay them enormous amounts of money. We can't feed our own family, but we still pay the wages of the government to do what we need them to do. When they don't do what they are paid to do, why don't you sack them? Why do you put up with it? Why do you go, oh, okay? Why do you do that? Come on, people. Let's get this world back into gear. Everyone's running around going, oh, the world's so bad. There's going to be a war. We're going to get nuked. The banks are going to collapse. Do something about it. Don't leave it up to the dickheads that conned you into voting for them. I'm not a political person, so I'm going to leave it right there. I love everybody.
That's that's a wonderful ending. Thank you so much again, Grandmaster Wolf.
My
And
pleasure.
for my pleasure. For people who are interested in learning more about you, your techniques, your consultations, you have your main website, which is gmwolf.org, grandmasterwolf.org. And you also have a YouTube channel with the handle Grandmaster Wolf Mystic. So if anyone is interested in learning more, those are some of the portals. And I hope we'll talk again. And I will definitely reach out for a consultation as well from you. Thank you again so much. Because I need a little bit of extra help in my journey. Thank you so much for all that you're doing, all the service that you're doing, and it's really, really precious and needed. Thank you so much for this time together.
My pleasure, Valentina. Thank you. I love you all,
Thank you so much.
guys. I really do. look after yourselves, look after our world, look after each other. And that's the end of that. Bye.